Hi there, thanks for joining me today. I wanted to create a video today to talk about how you can tell if a new piece of music is well suited for you and your current skill level. In the last video that I posted, I talked about how you can support yourself when you're learning a new song by getting a little bit of structure into how you approach that song. To provide you small, easier wins and to make the song as a whole less intimidating. One of the things that I talked about in that video is knowing when it might be a good idea to hold off on a song if it's too difficult for you. And I wanted to expand on that today. How to be able to tell if a song is too hard for you. Because certainly you could press through and try to finish a song that you were really struggling with, but you have to be very mindful of how much time it takes you to learn a song, because the longer the time that it takes, the quicker your motivation can get sapped up. And so I believe it's really important to find a nice match between your skill level and the songs that you want to play, so that you are consistently growing in a pace that's manageable for you. And a big part of that is choosing songs that are in line with your skill levels. But unless you're an experienced piano teacher, sometimes it can be difficult to know what kind of a song would be appropriate for you, especially if you want to be free to go to a music store on your own and pick out your own music. And so I've had a couple of students ask me this in the past: how can I tell if a piece is right for me? And so I thought I would give you my thoughts on this, and hopefully it will help. So I have two main ways that I approach this question. One approach is a percentage method, where I try to determine what percentage of this song is going to be new or challenging for myself or for my student, whoever's playing. And the second is a bit of a scale, an enjoyment scale. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much enjoyment is a student getting or likely to get out of a song like this? Okay, so I'll talk about both of them. I think I'll talk about the percentage method first, because it's a little bit more concrete, and the benefit of this approach is that you can use it to look and evaluate music before you even bring it home. So the percentage is basically the ratio between the things that are new and the things that are familiar in a song. My advice is that only 10% of a new song should be material that's unfamiliar to the player, to the learner. So that means that for every element in the song that you don't immediately know how to do on site, there should be 9 things that you can do immediately without a problem, okay? So let me break that down, because it might seem that when you're starting a brand new piece that you've never looked at before, that the whole thing 100% would be unfamiliar. But it's actually not true. The piece as a whole would be unfamiliar, but that's just because it's a new combination of notes and rhythms that you have already seen before. So the elements should be familiar to you. It's just the arrangement of those elements that are new to you. But for a song to be enjoyable for you to learn, you should be comfortable with most of the individual components of that new song. So for example, these things might include maybe notes. You could look at a piece and ask yourself, do I recognize all the notes that are in this piece, or am I going to have to learn different notes? You might ask yourself about the rhythm. What are the rhythmic patterns in the piece, and do I recognize these rhythms? Do I know what they're supposed to sound like? Do I know how to carry them out? So there would be other ones too, like for example, fingering. How complicated is the fingering pattern in this piece? Can I follow it? Is it using patterns that I'm familiar with? Are my hands agile enough to carry this out? You might also consider pace. What is the speed of this piece? And is this a speed that I feel comfortable playing at right now? You might also consider things like expression. Is this piece supposed to be played in a certain way or with a certain feeling, and am I capable of giving that? So for example, maybe a romantic song would be maybe soft and flowing, and maybe use the pedal a lot. So are you comfortable doing that? Can you use the pedal in that way effectively? Can you play softly and smoothly? Or if you're playing a Baroque piece that tends to use a lot of staccato, so are you capable of doing that? So, these are the things that you can think about. But at any rate, for each of these elements, if you're looking through the piece and you're like, yeah, I recognize these notes, I feel like this is an expression and a pace that I could probably play at. Maybe I haven't seen this particular rhythm before, but for the majority of the piece, I do know how to play that rhythm. It's just like a section, or it's a new pattern that you play a couple times, but like it doesn't look too complicated. Once you get it, you think you can keep going. You have to scan the piece and see how you feel about it. What do you recognize? What do you not recognize? And then basically start to do some calculations. For every new thing that you see in this piece, are there 9 other things that you can do comfortably? And if you can say that, then it sounds like you have a piece that you can play with 90% accuracy, or just with a 10% difficulty level. So if this makes sense to you, then this percentage method is a really great way to dial in on your skills as a musician. And it's a really great way to evaluate the music that you might want to play, to make sure that it's something that's going to be enjoyable for you and sustainable to practice. But of course, this doesn't work for everybody. If you're not entirely sure what your skill level is, or if you don't really want to be bothered with percentages, then there's another method that you can use, and that is just simply to gauge how do you feel while you're playing the song. So I like to think about this as an enjoyment scale. So on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the song is completely easy and it's even boring for you, to 10 being completely impossible and you're absolutely suffering through it, where does this song and this experience fit on that scale from 1 to 10 for you right now? And so the answer I'm looking for in myself and in my students is about a 7. About a 7. A 5 would be like a reasonable challenge. I can't read it immediately, but I know if I had a little bit of time, I could figure it out. Or a 5 is like a song that I learned a while ago, but I haven't played in a while, and so I know I've got the understanding in there somewhere. I just gotta work it out a bit. That would be about a 5. But 5 is kind of middling emotionally. It's not really a challenge. It's not a challenge. It's just kind of in the middle. I like to get just above that. So I like to say a 7. I like to find music that is, it's comfortable enough for the student to learn, but provides just a little bit more challenge so that it inspires their motivation, it pushes them to learn a little bit more, and by pushing themselves to learn a bit more, it infuses them with pride and a sense of accomplishment. 8 is just too high. 8 is too close to 10 for it to be enjoyable. I try to cap out at 7. The only drawback to this method is that you can't really use it ahead of time. Like if you're picking out music at the store, the percentage method is better for that. But once you have a song and you're playing it, you're trying it out at home, or if you've been assigned a piece by your teacher, the scale method is a really great way of just kind of touching in with yourself as you're learning it. From a scale from 1 to 10, how much am I enjoying this? So I hope this was helpful. These are the two methods that I use to determine if a song is appropriate for a student of mine, and I think you can use these methods on your own to figure out if a song is too difficult for you. So thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.